I'm Mia.
And today we're going to teach you about the 7-layer density column.
The purpose of this experiment is to see whether 7 liquids will layer on top of each other successfully without mixing.
Our hypothesis is that they will indeed layer themselves, but by the 7th layer they will have mixed.
Just a little bit. So, for this experiment you're going to need 4 tablespoons of honey, 4 tablespoons of corn syrup, 4 tablespoons of sunlight dish soap,
4 tablespoons of water, 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil, 4 tablespoons of rubbing alcohol, and 4 tablespoons of blue flame fondue fuel.
You will also need 7 small cups, 3 bottles of food coloring, but only 3 drops from each one. And you will need 1 tall cup.
And a clear surface, and a small little spoon to mix in the color.
Alright, so for the procedure, we started by clearing a flat surface in front of us, as you can see, and laying out all the liquids in front of us.
And then, for each one, in order, we put 4 tablespoons of
each one into
each liquid
into a small cup. You can't see right now because otherwise we'll spill them all over the table, but
they are all equal amount of the same liquid in the cups.
So that is a variable that we do not change. So next, once it's all laid out and perfect, you're going to put 3 tablespoons of 3 drops of blue food coloring into the corn syrup. So only 3, because otherwise it's going to go too much. 2, 3.
And now mix it well with the spoon. Mix it well. Next we have the red food coloring in the water. So, once again, 3. There. 3. That's it.
And I'm going to just get a piece of napkin so we can wipe it off. Because the corn syrup has a higher density level, that means that it will be a lot thicker and therefore it's harder to mix, and then it sticks more to the spoon.
But that's okay.
Because we can always clean it.
Okay.
Alright.
Just gonna clean it a little bit more. Alright, after you've poured the red in the water, you want to pour the green food coloring into the rubbing alcohol.
So this one's going to mix a lot more easily because it's so thin. 3. And we are doing this because when we layer them, we want to be able to see a difference between the liquids, and we don't want them to just mix in and look like a jumble of colors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, after you've done all the steps to get your liquids prepared, now it's time to pour them in your cup.
So this is when it gets a little bit more tricky because you don't want to get anything wrong or else you might have to restart. So you're going to want to pour really, really slowly and without touching the edges so it doesn't interfere with the other liquids.
So first you pour the honey and make sure you pour it very slowly into the cup.
Slowly.
It's easier to pour the thicker liquids into the cup slower because since they're thick, they travel slower.
Yeah, and then it won't get on the sides of the cup.
Yes.
Alright.
After the honey, we have the corn syrup.
Okay, pour this one slowly too. Shh. So as you can see, Griffin, come closer, please. You can see that it layers.
They are starting to layer themselves already.
Does that help you see better?
But yes.
Okay. So then after that, we have the dish soap. So it's getting thinner and thinner as we go up. Okay, so we pour this one slowly too, but it's still coming out quite fast. because it's getting thinner. But you can see it's still layers. Bam. Okay.
Now this one is going to be quite hard because this is the water on top of dish soap, which is going to make bubbles.
So you have to pour really slowly, but it's hard because water comes out fast.
Okay.
And it's okay if you get it to touch the edges, but try as hard as you can not to. Alright, so you can still see there's layers.
Okay.
Alright, and next we have the vegetable oil. And you all probably know that it layers because of oil spills and stuff. It comes out really fast. But there's
As you can see, now there's a layer of kind of bubbly. That's because that is the oil.
Yeah.
And that's the layer of the oil. So right now you can see
The honey, corn syrup, dish soap, then the water, and now the vegetable oil.
So after that, we have the rubbing alcohol. And this is the second last liquid we're going to pour.
Be really careful. Alright, so as you can see, there's a clear layer above the vegetable oil. That's because it's so thin that no matter how much food coloring we put in, it's not really going to make much of a difference. So finally, we have the blue flame fondue fuel. And this is so thin that it's probably going to mix with the rest of them. But after a while, we're going to let it sit, and it will probably layer. Alright, so as you can see, there's still very distinct layers at the bottom, but at the top, as they get thinner, they become easier to mix. The reason that they usually don't layer is because since the levels are so different, they don't allow each other to mix because the density is different, and since, yeah.
But as you can see, if you let it sit for a little bit, the layers start to show more. But since the blue fondue flavors are darker colors, they seem to
Mix more.
But you can still see there's a clear level of the honey, and then the corn syrup, and the dish soap. It's hard to quite see, but you can see it.
And now we know that our hypothesis was right, because we believe that the liquids would layer without much mixing.
But by the seventh layer, some of them will have mixed in a little bit.
And we were right because you can see that the first 5 have mixed really well, have not mixed at all.
And by the end, you can see that they have kind of mixed, but you can still faintly see the layers.
So for our applications, we believe that if one day there's a giant oil spill, what scientists could do is they could find a liquid, a really strong liquid that has density level in between the oil spill and the water, and that way it can separate the oil and the water so it doesn't harm any more animals. So thank you for watching our video.
And we hope you learned something about density levels and our 7-layer density column.
And maybe one day you'll try out this experiment because it's really cool.
And it's quite interesting